Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Hello and welcome Cheap Shot Nation to Cheap Shot Entertainment. It is February. We've just had Vengeance Day and Valentine's Day. I don't know why they didn't just call this one Valentine's Day Massacre, but it is TakeOver, it's NXT, and we know we're in for a ruddy good time because, you know, it's NXT. So, this is NXT Vengeance Day. It took place on the 14th of February 2021, aka Valentine's Day, and it was from the Capitol Wrestling Centre inside the Thunderdome. Noting here that they do have a few people around the ring making some noise, which does add to the atmosphere, which is great. Top notch, as usual. So if you want to find out my thoughts on the show, follow us into the main video. So we start with the pre-show here. Obviously there's no matches on the pre-show, but we do get a special signing of a new talent, LA Knight, otherwise known as Eli Drake in NWA circles. And that is absolutely awesome. I really hope they manage to use him well because he was fantastic on NWA from start to finish. I'm hoping that NWA comes back and this is a short-term thing, or they're just going to, you know, they're going to go with newer talent, which is fine, because NWA was absolutely fantastic. But they've changed his name straight away because, you know, it's WWE, and they've called him LA Knight. I'm pretty sure that's a make of shoe at some, you know, 90s thing. Anyway, we're going to go into the main show now. We're going to start with the Women's Dusty Cup final. The first ever Women's Dusty Cup took place on NXT, and this is the final match of that. It pits Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, my personal pick to win the whole thing, versus Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. And truth be told, I would quite happily take either of those teams winning this one. Of course, Gonzalez is the standout here, having victories over, notable victories over Rhea Ripley, who was in the last two of the Royal Rumble. So, yeah, it is very much a Gonzalez match here. So much better than her namesake from back at WrestleMania 9. Raquel Gonzalez, just a huge powerhouse, shows her power on display and just dominates her opponents. As soon as Kai comes in, Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon do get the upper hand. They are on top, giggity, and the focus is on the surgically repaired legs of Dakota Kai, and she can't reach Gonzalez. Bit of a heel turn, flippy type thing here. You know, Dakota Kai is struggling, she can't get there, and Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon are doing everything they can to stop her from hitting the tag. I thought that was a little bit weird, but, you know, serviceable, seeing as how they are the faces here. And yeah, slight heel moves. He's, you know, in the face of Dakota Kai and all this kind of stuff. Gonzalez hits Kai with a charge intended for Ember Moon. Ember Moon ducks. He hits Dakota Kai, and that is the first sign of dissension here between Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. But it doesn't have an effect on either of them because the Eclipse is hit on Gonzalez, but Kai distracts the referee in order for Gonzalez to survive on this occasion. Gonzalez powerbomb attempt and a drop kick by Shotzi Blackheart turns the tides there. Blackheart with a facebuster to Kai, sliced bread to Gonzalez, and a dive to the outside by Dakota Kai with the aid of Gonzalez. Assisted splash on the outside by Ember Moon, and some kind of weird submission thing applied by Ember Moon on the, no, I was going to say the Giant Gonzalez then, Raquel Gonzalez. Like I said, she's much better than the Giant Gonzalez. Powerbomb after an assisted splash gets the win for Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, the standout of NXT at the moment on the women's division. They get a guaranteed title shot for the Women's Tag Team Championship, and I for one am really happy with that, because on the main card the Tag Team Championships for the women's division are just another thing. They don't need to be there. NXT have got things to prove. I think they could bring the Tag Team Championships down to NXT and get more out of them. At the moment though, NXT with their pay-per-view sort of thing, this goes 2.5 hours-ish with their pay-per-view schedule, with the 5 matches, they've got more titles than they can put on matches, which is a concern, but I think that they could really do something here with this and even take the pay-per-views up to 3 hours and add that extra match, even put one on the pre-show. But I'm really happy about this. As you can tell, really happy that Dakota Kai and Gonzalez won. First ever Women's Dusty Cup winners, Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai. So I am going to give this one, it's a great opener, so I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. There was some bits and bobs here and there that caused some problems, and some of the spots were missing and things like that, but that's fine. It was perfectly good tag team match. All the ladies in this match gave it their all, and it was just a really fun opening match. So that is my score, 3.5 cheap shots out of 5. Second championship of the night on the line. It is the North American Championship, currently held by Johnny Gargano, because you have to say it like William Regal, because William Regal is God. And he's going against Kushida. Is it time? Is it time, Mickey? Yeah, I think he says it's time. Anyway, on the way to the ring, we get a nice little segment here. I say nice little segment, it's kind of weird. Dexter Lumis kidnapped Austin Theory. It's me, Austin Theory. Not anymore. He's been kidnapped, had a rag put over his face, and you know, he's disappeared. We never got a resolution to that. I'm sure that will happen on NXT this coming Wednesday as they make their way to the ring. They get all the way to the ring to do their sort of hand clap thing, and then Johnny Gargano realises that he's not there. Like I say, we don't get a conclusion to that, but Gargano is making his entrance wearing X-Men inspired gear, which is always cool. I love that leather jacket, in fact, but I know it's going to be really expensive. So both these guys, Kushida is really on the up and up in NXT. Had a bit of a wobble to start with, probably due to, you know, coming over to America and being in a strange country and things like that, but he is really finding his feet now. Kushida is matching Johnny Gargano step for step in the opening part of this match, as both try to gain the advantage. Kushida gets the upper hand for a while until Gargano, it's an assisted DDT, not a DVD, but a DDT, focusing on the neck and arm of Kushida. Gargano is ruthless in this match, absolutely ruthless, but any slight window Kushida makes him pay for. He gets the Fujiwara, hits an octopus stretch on Gargano, and a pinfall exchange ensues. If you've ever played SmackDown vs Raw on PlayStation 2, very much like the cruiserweight moves there when you have that little animation. Really fun. And then both get up, hit the double clothesline, Rocky style, and we have a stalemate. Kushida is very much the aggressor now, having taken down Johnny Gargano down in peg, and interestingly enough, no one's out at ringside for Johnny Gargano. He did actually wrestle this match on his own, which was good. I think the idea was that Austin Theory would be out at ringside with him, but he was not, because he was kidnapped by Dexter Lumis. really like Dexter Lumis. I think he's a really cool character just because I really like horror movies, and he reminds me of something out of a horror movie. I hope that WWE aren't planning to do a horror movie with him like they did with Kane. And the full Arsenal is released on Gargano here. Northern Light suplex with an arm trap. Gargano just can't get going in this one after Kushida gets the upper hand. Both on the top rope now, and Gargano hits a twisting suplex from the top rope to gain the advantage. Both try and lock on submissions. There's a submission exchange and the end of another double clothesline here. Both down on their knees, both exhausted. We get a slapping contest, a hit contest, and yeah, both are really trying to gain the upper hand again here. Hoverboard lock is escaped, and the sequence here is Johnny Gargano going towards the ropes and just leaning back a little bit, hitting Kushida in the face with the top rope, and he obviously has to then release the hold. Kushida is then thrown into the corner like a dart by Gargano. Top rope roll into the Fujiwara armbar from Kushida. This match is absolutely nuts, really entertaining. Gargano smashes Kushida into the barriers at this point, both on the outside. Kushida appears at the top of the ramp. We've got this new ramp system where it's not a ramp going down towards the ring, but it's actually just a platform, a la WCW style and AEW style, at the same level as the ring, which is cool. It's something different. I like that. I really, really do. Top of the ramp hits a running kick, a punt if you like, on the arm of Johnny Gargano, and the ropes hits the ropes, one final beat on the ramp, and hit again inside to make sure that Johnny Gargano retains. And breathe. Whew. This match was damn near perfect. These two guys are absolutely brilliant. I feel like Kushida is going to get another chance, and he's possibly going to pick up that North American Championship. Other theories, Theory says that Austin Theory and Johnny Gargano are going to have a feud at some point with Theory picking up the championship, but you gotta love Johnny Gargano and the way at the moment. Even the t-shirt is pretty cool, the logo that they have based on the Avengers, which is awesome. Absolutely fantastic match. I'm going to give this 4 cheap shots out of 5 because it was great, and that is that. It had everything in it. It started off slow, it got quicker, it had submission attempts in it, we've got fighting on the outside. It was everything that you can create in a video game done inside the wrestling ring and sometimes just outside it. Ultimately entertaining, great match. Moving on to match number 3 now. It is the Men's Dusty Cup Final, and it is MSK, which is Nash Carter and Wes Lee. That is 2 names, by the way. It's Wes Lee, not Wesley. And the grizzled young veterans, soon to be Dusty Cup champions of the world. Yeah, that is my impression of someone from Liverpool, or just Zach Gibson. Shoes off. I don't hate Gibson, I think he's absolutely awesome. Zach Gibson and James Drake, both absolutely awesome. Of course, the beaten finalist from last year, getting beaten by Pete Dunne and Matt Riddle, the Broserweights in the final. So this is the 2nd time they have been in the final. Are they going to pick up the win this time? They're certainly very, very confident in this one. Gibson and Carter start as grizzled young veterans, use their experience to gain the upper hand. Lots of energy to counteract the physical ground and pound style of the grizzled young veterans from MSK. and they fly. They do lots of flippy shit, and I'm going to say it because I don't usually swear on this channel, but it's just flippy shit, isn't it? I mean, I don't mind it, but I'm not sold on MSK. They're a pet project from Triple H, which is fine. I don't mind new tag teams. They're very talented and everything, but not for me. I'd rather have the grizzled young veterans of Gibson and James Drake. But after the flippy shit, this is where the experience comes into play, because Zach Gibson just runs and clocks him onto the floor with a massive clothesline, and it just takes a beating from that point on. Grizzled young veterans in control and use the distraction technique for maximum skullduggery, as said by Wade Barrett. I love that word, skullduggery. It's great, isn't it? To keep the advantage, cutting off the ring, cutting it off in the middle, making sure that MSK can't get that tag. The plancha is hit over the post by the waiting Wes Lee after they tag, and both the Grizzled Young Veterans are on the outside. Very impressive move, lots more flippy shit. Handspring kick hit onto Gibson means that there's a near fall here, and that is cut off by James Drake. MSK hitting the Grizzled Young Veterans with everything at this point, and Grizzled Young Veterans hit the Helter Skelter. James Drake hits the 450 splash, and MSK kick out. MSK come back with some more flippy shit, and the Grizzled Young Veterans hit the Doomsday device from inside to outside, which is absolutely awesome. Hit the Ticket to Mayhem, which is countered, and MSK win with some more flippy shit. Said that word quite a lot. I do apologise, but I don't apologise. It's just, yeah, not a fan. If you like MSK, let me know. But you know, I'm all up for it. I just think they've been pushed to the moon, and it's just a grounding for people to not like them. I'd rather them have a storied rise, slow rise, maybe lose this one, but come back after the Grizzled Young Veterans have won a tag team championship and beat them for that. I'd be more up for that. But it's just pushed to the moon and back. MSK win. Great match. My thoughts on this is it was the wrong finish. Grizzled Young Veterans, 2-time finalists and 2 times beaten. Where does that leave the Grizzled Young Veterans? Are they going to go back to NXT UK and challenge for those titles? Because the Gallus is still the champions over there. So over here, because we're in the UK now, and that means that they've lost twice. Where do they go from here? That's my question. I'm sure they have a long-term plan for it, which is great. And thinking about it, you know, if I'd have made my predictions as the matches went on, having the heels win the Women's Dusty Cup, it would be the faces that won the Men's Dusty Cup. It happens in the Royal Rumbles all the time. But I'm going to give this one a 3.5 cheap shots out of 5. Not a fan of MSK. Think there was too much flippy stuff in this match and not enough ground and pound and mixing up of styles. Grizzled Young Veterans did carry this one, and it's, you know, it is good that they, you know, put the youngsters over just a little bit too soon. NXT Women's Championship is on the line in a triple threat match. It is the voluptuous Toni Storm, and she's going against Mercedes Martinez, the crafty veteran and the women's champion down in NXT, which is Io Shirai, the genius of the sky. So Martinez drops the champ even before the bell, because obviously in championship matches they stand apart and they introduce them individually. They don't introduce them as they're walking in, but they put the spotlight on, and that's one of the things I really like about NXT, and it's something that they've taken over to the main card. Make the championship matches feel special. That's what they do, and it's great. Martinez drops the champ before the bell even sounds, so Toni Storm then comes in and they have a bit of a scuffle, and Io Shirai does eventually come in, break up an early pin attempt, and there's an exchange then from Io Shirai and Toni Storm while Martinez is out on the outside because Io Shirai returned the favour. Martinez back in, takes control, but Storm interrupts, followed by a double A spinebuster from Martinez to Toni Storm. STO on Storm, crossface by Shirai, and a Dragon Sleeper on to that. It was a really nasty move, one of those moves that stack on top of each other, yeah, it was really quite nasty from Martinez here. All three factors in play. If someone tapped out, who was going to win the match? German spider suplex from the post from the top rope, which was incredible. Top rope, on Storm by Martinez, but that means she is hanging in the Tree of Woe. She is prone, and Shirai hits a stomp on to Martinez. The champ is in control at this point. All three women fight on the outside. The table collapses under the thought that it might get put through. This one is definitely not the table. And Shirai hits a massive splash. She climbs up the scaffolding with the lighting rigs on and hits a massive splash onto Storm and Martinez. Toni Storm basically taking all of this one, and Io Shirai almost knocking herself out. This gives Martinez a chance to take control here, dumping Io Shirai into the steel ring steps and hitting a fisherman's buster inside the ring, and a near fall. Storm hits the Storm Zero and again gets another near fall, hits the diving headbutt, another near fall, but a diving after the diving headbutt and the pin, Io Shirai jumps off the top rope. Didn't even see this coming because the camera angle was placed really nicely. Io Shirai hits a moonsault. Storm rolls off. Io Shirai gets the pin on Mercedes Martinez and retains the championship. This match was absolutely crazy, but I feel like it could have been given just that little bit longer for the ladies to prove what they can do. And Shirai retains. Again, I'm fine with that. My prediction was Toni Storm. I think it's her time coming up, and maybe taking what I said about MSK, she's only just come to the main roster NXT, so to speak. So yeah, maybe a couple of more matches and Toni Storm will pick up that championship. But Io Shirai retains. I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 because some of the spots in this one were ultimately very dangerous. I love the fact that Io Shirai climbed up the scaffold and hit the splash just out of nowhere, but the finish for me was again out of nowhere. I think that could have been extended just a little bit, and we may have just got that frantic finish that with multiple kickouts and stuff like that, which would have been fine by me. But I'm going to give this one 3 cheap shots out of 5. Going on to the main event now, it is for the NXT Championship. It is Pete Dunne versus Finn Balor for the NXT Championship. It is good to see 2 homegrown talents in WWE on the main roster, main eventing a kick-ass pay-per-view for NXT. So the match starts. Balor is working the arm early, grounding the challenger. The challenger comes back in Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne now controlling the head of Balor, knowing that the jaw must still be aching from those huge battles with Kyle O'Reilly. There's a long feeling out process in this match. It starts out very, very slow with lots of rest holds, lots of trying to jockey for position, so to speak. But It has everything. It was never boring at any point, which is you know, the mark of main event caliber wrestlers. Lots of joint manipulation from Pete Dunne here. Balor reverses, Dunne reverses the armbar, Dunne gets the armbar, Balor reverses the armbar, and there's lots of, you know, hard-hitting, ruthless pursuits of, you know, the gold. And Finn Balor wants to keep the gold. He is the king of NXT, and Pete Dunne wants to be the first ever wrestler in WWE to pick up the NXT UK Championship as well as the NXT Championship. Yeah, it's a ruthless pursuit of gold here. Fujiwara armbar, and that is locked in. The damage is done, and Pete Dunne is now like a boa constrictor trying to make sure his prey can't get away in Finn Balor, and you know, manipulating all the joints, all the extremities, leaving fingers out is not a good idea when you've got Pete Dunne on the opposite side of the ring. Finn Balor comes back with a quick stomp on the toes, and Dunne creates distance, and the Demon is very much in control now. Dunne looking exceptionally orange in this one. I think he must have gone to the same tanning bed as Donald Trump, and Balor is focusing very much on the legs of Pete Dunne, knowing that the bitter end can only be hit if Pete Dunne can stand long enough to flip them round and hit it. Dunne reverses again into a guillotine chokehold and hits an impaler type DDT on the champ. Methodical wrestling from the off here, and Balor trying to speed things up a little towards the first part of the match, the first third. STO by Finn Balor broken by smashing his fingers into the mat again, leaving those fingers where Pete Dunne can get them, and you are going to fall prey to the master of manipulation in Pete Dunne. And both guys hitting big moves now, one after another, classic Dunne snap suplex and a finger stomp here. Should I say vintage Pete Dunne here, and backstabber final cut by Balor, and a kick into the corner, goes for the coup de grace, and he is caught in the Hell's Gate chokehold. I can't even think what its proper name is, and Balor out, but manages to get to the ropes. Now this is where I've taken half cheap shot off, because Dunne tries to carry on, but the referee stops him from doing so. Why? Because, you know, Finn Balor managed to get to the ropes and Dunne wanted to carry on. Well, why is the referee stopping? Would it have happened the other way around? I don't know, but as Pete Dunne would do. And that is your lot for NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day on the 14th of February 2021. A great pay-per-view from start to finish, never fails to impress me, NXT, and always a great pay-per-view to boot. Go and watch it. It is very much worth watching, as any NXT pay-per-view is from the beginning. Elimination Chamber's got a lot to live up to after that one. Obviously they're not putting them on the same weekends now. We're not going to get an NXT takeover at WrestleMania, because WrestleMania is over 2 nights again for the second year in a row. And for the second year in a row, the planned trip to WrestleMania is not happening. But you will get more here in the podcast Talk is Cheap. We're going to be doing some predictions in Talk is Cheap, and we're going to have to look at when the Elimination Chamber is, because we need to get those predictions up and out so we can do that, so you can listen to it. But go and check out the podcast. It's on Spotify and all podcasty type platforms. In the meantime, if you like the video, make sure you click like and subscribe, and leave us a comment. Let us know if you've watched the pay-per-view. What did you think? Did you think the right outcomes happened at the right times for the right matches? And keep it locked right here. You are the Cheap Shot Nation. I've been your host, Luke. Thanks very much for watching. Take care and goodbye.
Hiya!